Welcome to Wellness Made Easy with Wendy and Kirsten. Hi, I'm Wendy. After I graduated with my master's in wellness management, I started my own company, T2 Coaching, Health, Fitness, and Sport. And I'm Kirsten, an athlete, vegan, life coach, and girl mom, running a business focused on helping others create a life they love. We are here to explore all things wellness to help you become the person you've always wanted to be. So if that's why you're here, open your ears and your mind as we tackle the world of wellness together. Hey, everybody. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Kirsten. How are you?
I am hanging in there. How are you?
I'm good. I just spent the day with my mom. And so it's fun. I took her to her doctor's appointment. Then I took her out to lunch. I treated her to lunch. And
Ooh.
then I always have my computer with me because I work from my computer. So we got back to her apartment and I was just kind of, working on some website stuff, working on some Instagram posts and doing my own work while we watched certain shows together on Netflix. And so we watch our show and I'm just kind of typing away. So it's a good day. It was a good day so far.
You're half watching the show.
Yes.
What show are you watching?
We were watching American, All American. Okay. So we started watching that when I broke my patella in 2023. 2 shows, we're hooked. We're completely hooked. We binged it on Netflix, because I hung out with my mom a lot. For recovery. And it was sad when the season ended, but we quickly moved on to they took some characters from that show and made a new show. It was All American Homecoming. We quickly moved on to that one. And then I stopped seeing her because I was starting to recover and spending more time at home. So she recently had a few surgeries. So I had to hang out with her and take care of her. So we finished there was a new season of All American. We went crazy with it. We finished the All American Homecoming. And then we started something new a few weeks ago, but I haven't really spent the day with her. So we started something else today. I don't even remember what it was, but it's very much like those 2 shows.
Right.
The drama, the love, the incest, just like all this drama, kind of like a soap opera, but like the same type of characters, the same music, the sport, just the whole sports and competition. And oh my gosh, they just threw a basketball up. Is it going to go in the basket or not? Just this kind of thing. And again, it's just something me and my mom do. And it's great.
Yeah, that's fun to have something like that you guys can do together.
Yeah, it's fun because I don't watch TV. Like I don't watch anything. So that's like my one time that I'm on watching TV or watching Netflix. Same thing.
Yeah, I watch all my shows on my phone and my phone's really small. So I was picking up Cora from her friend's house yesterday and America's Got Talent was on. And that was one of the shows I do watch. And I was like, oh my gosh, it looks so weird on a big TV.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm so used to watching everything on my little phone. And I was like, wow, it looks a lot different on a big TV.
Yeah.
So what is your wellness win for the week?
My wellness win is the camp that I went to go help coach. I mean, I was in charge of like the open water swim clinic. There were 15 athletes from Team Zoot. And my friend Karen was kind of hosting it in North Carolina where she lives. It's just this great venue. We all stayed in these little tiny homes. It was just nice to get away, do the clinic, talk about transitions. I used to do a lot of clinics, open water swim clinics, indoor triathlons. I used to go to Turkey and coach camps. I would coach camps with the Old Endurance House Westminster. And I really miss that. I haven't really done much of that, if any, since I moved to Georgia. While living in Georgia, I would have to fly out, but I've never done that stuff locally. So it was really nice to like get invited to and be wanted to help with the clinic. And then I got to go biking with them and did their running and just, kind of a relaxing weekend away. Was fantastic.
So would you want to like organize a local clinic and people
Not by
would
myself.
for you? I mean, like in Georgia?
Yeah, not by myself. I'm teaming up with my partner, Fleet Feet Canton. They sponsor me running. And so I proposed, I'm like, we should start a Cherokee County triathlon club. And I told them everything I used to do. And so I'm partnering with them. We're in the process on Monday. We're going to fill out an open water form to gain access to Ackworth Lake so we can do open water swim clinics, but it's going to be under Fleet Feet Canton, powered by Fleet Feet Canton.
And you'll just run it.
Yeah, and I'll run it, but it's so T2 coaching's quite involved, but it's not me. They already have event insurance. They have they have the newsletter. They know people in Georgia better than I do. And that's perfect. I did it all in Colorado. Like, I feel like, again, I was way before my time doing all those things I did in Colorado. And my business was just booming out of control, which was great. Sometimes it was a little much because I was still a full-time manager at a health club. But still, the local, the community, the people I knew, it was just so much fun. And I miss that community part of it. And I'm getting it here, but it's hard. I just didn't want to move to a new state and have to like start over. Like, I'll start over and do all the things I did in Colorado, but my motivation's coming back and I'm finding people to do it with.
Are you guys thinking about doing some sort of like swim run series, like Stroke and Stride?
No, but yes. I mean, no, because that didn't run through my mind. But we have great venues to do like a stroke and stride or a swim run. I love it. Again,
Yeah.
I was a race director. I know how to do this stuff. So I think the stroke and strides would be very unique here because no one's doing it. There actually was a swim run Georgia event, an actual swim run event in Georgia that the year Don and I signed up, it got postponed because of weather. And then COVID happened and then they didn't bring it back. So we actually did a swim run in, I think it was in Tennessee.
I remember that.
Because that was awesome. But yeah, I mean, what a great idea, because as far as I know, and again, I do the research. I don't know of any, like even the Atlanta Track Club, which is major, huge, they're not doing anything like that.
Yeah, that might go over really well for you guys.
Yeah, thank you for suggesting it.
You're welcome. I'll just take 5 cents out of every registration forever.
Sure.
No, I just know that how popular they are in Boulder because everybody wants a opportunity to swim in open water.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could do it like in an organized, safe race scenario, it's just so beneficial. And people come from all over to do them. So
right. And Fleet Feet's a running store. So getting that run component with the swim component sounds awesome.
Yeah. There you go. There's your next thing.
Cool.
Well, I think my wellness win is I have gone another week of things feeling like they're spinning out of control and I'm still not, I haven't broken yet. So I feel like I'm just giving myself grace and being like, it is what it is. You could do what you can do and everyone will survive. I'm doing a little bit better on not scheduling, not great. Like I have a couple things tonight that I wish I wouldn't have scheduled, a couple clients in the evening for personal training that looking back, I'm like, oh, I wish I didn't schedule that because I would be done. If I didn't, I would be home by 6:00 with nothing scheduled. And then I can start doing some things that I want to do around the house and getting ready for our swim meet this weekend. So it's just like a slow learning process of just saying no, I think. So I haven't been saying no as much as I should, but I'm getting a little more, like I had a woman who, this morning said, do you have any time this week for a training session? And I could probably squeeze her in if I wanted to get up earlier or stay later, but I don't want to. And so I said, sorry, I don't have anything till next week. And that's huge for me because normally if someone's like, I need a session, I'm like combing through my schedule, making sure I can fit her in somewhere, even if that means me giving up something. And I feel like, it's basically the end of June and I've been only swimming outside once a week. And that's one of my favorite things about the summer. And at the beginning of the summer, I'm like, I'm going to swim outside 5 days a week. And so I still haven't gotten to do a lot of these things. So I want to be hyper aware of the things that I can choose to accept or not accept and to not give up my own personal enjoyment of life to try to accommodate everybody.
Yeah. And I think the awareness of it is a big step in the right direction.
Yeah. And that's what actually one of the main things I'm working with my therapist is why I feel like I have to give up my own personal time to accommodate others and working on that. Like maybe that's a self-worth thing. Maybe that's I'm in the habit of feeling like I have to do these things. And I don't. So to remember that when people are scheduling saying like, I really need a session, when can you fit me in? And I'm like, oh, I want to fit you in, but I also want to fit myself in.
Yeah, that's fair.
So Wendy and I, we wanted to keep this a little bit shorter this week, and we have a great topic. Our topic is what to do when you have a setback, what to do if you're having a bad day, and how to handle that so that a bad day doesn't turn into a bad week, which turns into a bad month, which turns into a bad year, which could turn into a bad life.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that in the past, I've been more of a black and white thinker. And this is kind of like had me spiraling into this. And these days, I'm a little more shades of gray. I wouldn't say I'm great by any means, but I feel like once you start learning some of these tools and opening up your be open to, there could be some middle ground, and be open to changing your mindset. Wendy and I have come up with a few different categories because this could happen in physical, mental, emotional. It could happen with your nutrition, your workout plan, your training plan, your relationship, your job, a project at school. Like these are all, I mean, this could happen in any area of your life. So we want to kind of talk about what we do in these situations and give some tips to help you guys turn that frown upside down.
Right. And I think a key word you said there was mindset, because it is a mindset. It's a reframing. It's a shift in focus. It's, again, the word bad. Bad is a subjective word. So bad, something that's bad for you might not be bad for me. I heard this saying, can't remember the exact quote, but like, your junk could be someone else's treasure.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of the same thing. Like, oh, that you think that you're having a bad day? Oh my God, blah, 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 blah. And you would tell me like, oh, that's nothing, so it's just a mindset, and it's a reframing, and always, always, always. And this is something I think I've lived by, but more or less after my broken patella setback, is things are temporary. You may not know the extent or the duration of what's going on with you, but you just have to, again, always keep that in your mind that things are temporary. Generally, kind of most of the time, there is something positive for every negative situation. Even in my case with the broken patella, a lot of positivity came out of that, with spending more time with my mom, taking a break from training. Even though I totally got detrained, I felt like I was in negative fitness at a point. It helped me learn for myself as an athlete, as well as for people I coach. I kind of regained what it's like to be unfit. I've never been unfit in my life, so it's like I've never had that loss of fitness. So just to feel that and understand and become more relatable to people. So again, I was able to turn that negative situation, and a lot more positives came out of it.
I love what you said about the nothing is temporary, because I was with someone this morning. It was when I was driving to the pool, because I did spend some time at the outdoor pool today. And she told me this quote, and I was like, oh my gosh, hold on. I have to write this down, because I feel like this quote embodies everything we are talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
And it said, success is not permanent. Failure is not permanent. So whether it's something that's going amazingly in your life or something that's going horribly in your life, it's not permanent.
It's going
like Wendy said, it's temporary. And I think the more we realize both successes and failures, whatever those mean to us, they're not permanent. I think it will help us move on from these bad days and these setbacks.
Right. A bad day, setback, there's always a learning opportunity, which is always a positive. Again, just even having a learning opportunity with whatever's going on is a positive thing. And, when you're having a bad day, go back to, what does a good day look like to you? What happens when you're having a good day? And always remember those good. Don't always focus on the negative. Remember the positive.
Yeah.
Where I used to work, I remember at the health club I used to work at in Fort Collins, I just felt like there's so much negativity. And my boss always focused on the negative. And I'm like, well, God, there's so much positive too. Let's reframe and focus on the positive, not the negative.
Right. I read this book one time and it was really valuable. It was one of the law of attraction type books.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that said, which this could pertain to any of these areas in our life, when you feel like, when people say like, oh, think positive. If you're in a situation where in that situation, there's nothing positive you can imagine, right? Let's say let's say you, just lost you lost your entire retirement fund in a weird scheme. Okay, let's just, for example, you lost all your money, went bankrupt. It's hard to sit there and think, what could be positive about losing all my money and going bankrupt? So what we would tend to do in that situation is dwell on all the money related things that are going to happen because we don't have any money anymore. So what this book suggested and what they said really works is you might not be able to raise your vibration or to think positive about your specific situation, but if you can raise your vibration as a whole and think positive as a whole, then that will improve the situation. So think of another area of your life. So instead of being like, oh, let me try to find something positive about this money situation, there might not be anything right now. There might not be anything for months and months and months. But let's say something else in your life is going great. Let's say you just PR'd your 10K, or you just lost 3 pounds, or your
In love,
daughter,
relationship is going great.
yeah, your kids are like both excelling in their thing that something else in your life that you can focus on, that is a positive thing. Then all that negativity from that financial stuff, it's going to neutralize it a little bit more. So I thought that was so huge because I've always been to try to make a positive out of everything and try to feel good about the situation. And there are just some situations that you can't find a positive in that situation. So in that case, find a positive in another situation. Yep. And it's going to raise your vibration, raise your attitude, make you feel positive, make you feel hopeful. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you, whether it's a minor setback or a major setback, if it's a minor bad day or a major bad day, for me, the only thing that pulls me out is having some sort of hope for something in the future.
Yeah. Like, again, going back to in the present moment, you may not find something positive, but in the end, there probably will be.
Right. But it's hard to say if you're going through a horrific time in your life, it's really hard to see.
Yeah.
You're not going to be thinking like, oh, I bet in 5 years, we're all going to sit and laugh about this. Or I guarantee we're not, nobody's
exactly.
But if you can find something else. So one thing I do, and I do this with all my people I coach, whether they're athletes, life coaching people, friends, everyone that knows me knows I do this, and they probably hate it because in the moment they just want to wallow. But I always look for gratitude. So if I just had a major setback, or I'm really upset about something, or if I'm just having that horrible day, what are 3 things I'm grateful for? And it could be not related to anything about that. What are 3 things I'm grateful for? Like my dogs are like, they love me no matter what. Or I took this shower and it felt amazing. Or even something simple like this week, it's like 100 degrees here. And I have air conditioning in my car and in my house. Mm-hmm. So everything else could be falling apart. But if you look, it could be the smallest little thing. Just start feeling grateful, because it's really hard to feel grateful and horrible at the same time. And when I work with people and I ask them if they're going through some hard situation and kind of trying to work out some solutions, and I don't see anything positive coming out of that person, then we just shift gears. What are 3 things you're grateful for right now in your life?
That's a good one.
And you just take a breath, you think of all these great things in your life, and then all of a sudden And especially people like if you have a great relationship or a great family or your kids or a great job and something bad is happening outside that doesn't have to do with those things. Once you think about the things that really are important to you and that matter, that could change your whole outlook as well. So what are so I would say
categories.
Yeah. So Wendy, like you're a coach, you work with a lot of athletes, you're also an athlete yourself. What if you have a horrible race? Like you trained your ass off, you're trying to qualify for Kona. All this stuff happened, half in control, half out of your control. You end up in 88th place, nowhere near qualifying for Kona. Your family already booked an Airbnb in Hawaii for October, and you just had the worst race of your life and you feel horrible. What would you do?
Allow myself to feel horrible in the moment and give myself like 24 hours to wallow and feel horrible. Because I'm going to feel horrible that, oh my gosh, all my friends and family were going to come watch me in Kona. They were counting on me to get their vacation to Kona.
Yeah.
They were counting on me. I did put in a lot of time and effort into preparing for this race, and I got a broken chain, I got a flat tire, my shifter broke. Those things have happened to me in races. Things have gone wrong like that. And it's disappointing, especially when those things out of your control happen. They're disappointing, but again, they were out of your control. What are you going to do? But I think there's something to be said, and I've read this before, or I've heard it on another podcast, is give yourself 24 hours to sulk and then have a plan of how you're going to get over it. In this example, maybe I'm going to go jump into another event very quickly and maintain my fitness and jump into another event if I can financially. But, for me, again, this example on me, I have so much experience. I could plan ahead for those scenarios to happen because they have happened. But I think it's important to know that in a bad race situation, your friends and family support you no matter what. And they're not going to be disappointed. They're not going to think negatively of you just because they don't have a chance to go to Kona and watch you race.
Right.
It's all in your mind. It's all in your mind. You think that way,
Mm-hmm.
and you have all those thoughts, but they're not true. They're not realistic, and it's just not going to happen.
And maybe in that situation also, maybe talking to some of those people, because like Wendy said, in your mind, they're all mad at you. They all think you're a loser. They all think you're slow. They're all like, there goes our vacation because of Kirsten's dumb race. That's what's going on in your head. You might talk to them and somebody might say, oh, thank God I really didn't have the money to go. Or they might say, you know what? Let's try something else for a vacation. They might be just excited to go because they wanted to go to support you. And the fact that you didn't make it and you're not going, now they're like, okay, now we're not going. And so to talk to the people that you think you're letting down or you think you're disappointing and find out what's really going on, because that might ease some of that. If it's yourself that you are disappointing, then that's some internal work you have to do. Like Wendy said, give yourself grace, come up with a plan. But you can easily rule out some of those things that you're feeling that you're afraid other people are thinking by just communicating and talking with them and say, hey, I'm really bummed. I'm really sorry. And they're probably going to be like, yeah, no biggie.
Mm-hmm.
So a category I was thinking of that I feel like I've done a lot of work with is eating. So, like what happens if you've been perfect on your diet? And I'm saying perfect and diet very, like, that could mean a lot of different things to people, but in your mind, you're doing perfectly. Your diet was going well. And then you go to a barbecue and you drink 12 beers and you eat 6 veggie burgers and a bag of potato chips. And now you're just so mad at yourself because you worked so hard the last month of eating well and you just totally blew it. In this, I've worked with tons of people that have gone through this exact scenario. And I myself have gone through this not exact scenario because I don't drink, but the equivalent of whatever that person just binged on. And I've tried a lot of different things in my life, and I've gone to different therapists who have suggested different things. So what works for me now is being real about what just happened. Because in my mind, I gained 10 pounds because I just ate 10 pounds of food, and I gained 10 pounds and I'm so mad at myself. But when I realistically look at what just happened, to gain 10 pounds, you would have to eat like more than
35,000 calories.
in excess
Right.
of 35,000 calories. And nobody can do that in a day. Like, I know you guys all, everyone remember when Michael Phelps shared what he ate in a day, right? And everyone's like, oh my God, that's the most calories I've ever heard of. That was 10,000 calories. So to just be real with yourself, and it's impossible. It's really close to impossible to ruin your whole entire fitness or diet or by doing one day of bad eating or one day of overeating. So most likely, so once you tell yourself, like, physically I'm okay, you might feel like crap. That's just a reminder that we're not supposed to be eating that much. And that's just helping us remember we don't need to put this much food in our body. So most likely once you get like the physical, I didn't gain 10 pounds, then you have to go to the mental of what you're telling yourself. And it might sound something like, oh my gosh, you're such a fat pig. I can't believe you ate all that food. You're so disgusting, blah, blah, blah. So one tool that I learned in therapy was talk to yourself like you would talk to a little kid. And this was way before I had a little kid. And so it's a little hard for me to relate to that. But now that I have a daughter, if she ate a whole bag of chips, I would never, ever say, oh my God, Cora, you are a disgusting pig. I can't believe you ate that bag of chips. You are a fat slug. Like, you treat yourself. So you know the golden rule, treat others how you want to be treated. I say treat yourself the way you would treat others, and give yourself grace and be kind to yourself, and know it's not the end of the world. And then once you know the physical, you're going to be okay, and mentally you're going to be okay, then it's easier to be like, okay, starting now, I'm going to do better. If you're already full, just drink water for the next 10 hours. If you're already full, and you don't need to go, and the reason I say that is because I used to be the black and white person where if I binged, I would just keep binging because I already binged. So why not just keep binging? Or I screwed up my diet. I might as well just, like, the whole rest of the weekend, just, it'll go all to hell and I'll start again Monday, or I'll start again June 1st, or I'll start again New Year's Day. And Wendy and I have talked about this a lot, where you can always start the very next minute. But if you're in a headspace where you're shaming yourself and you're mad at yourself, those are the same emotions that typically cause you to overeat or ruin your diet or eat crappy food or binge anyway. So first you need to clear that. And then it's a lot easier to make the decision, starting in 1 minute, starting the next second. I'm going to take a deep breath and start over.
Yeah, I think, just role playing like you do. How would you treat a kid? And it's just like role playing. I used to coach an athlete, haven't coached her in years, but she would get so down on herself about racing and her fitness and her weight and all that, and just like trash herself. And then I'm like, okay, now that she's a coach now. And I'm like, okay, now that you're a coach, would you ever trash an athlete you're coaching just how you're trashing yourself right now? And the answer is no.
Right.
And I always wanted to, like, get her to role play and say, would you treat someone else like you're treating yourself about your performance or your fitness or your weight or whatever she was, you know, going crazy over? And the answer is always no.
Right. And like Wendy said, like when we first started talking, your best, your worst might be somebody's best. Like Wendy running her like horrible, 49-minute 10K or whatever it was. And she was like, oh, it was so awful. There's people that would never get a 49-minute 10K in their life. Your weight, like you're like, oh, I gained 5 pounds. I'm 150 pounds now. Somebody's dream weight might be 150 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And so be careful what you're telling yourself, because what you tell yourself is what you're going to believe. And it doesn't like nobody else is thinking that about you. And if you believe that, that's great. Then you have to just work on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you think people are judging you for any of these setbacks or horrible days you're having, just know that everyone else, they're worrying about their own stuff and their own self and dealing with their setbacks and their bad days, just like you're dealing with yours.
Mm-hmm.
So if that helps to take a little bit of pressure off, knowing that it's just you that's hard on yourself, then you can work on, how do I soften up, and how do I love myself more? How do I love myself unconditionally?
Mm-hmm.
So what are some other areas you can think of that you've had setbacks?
One category we had was emotional and mental setbacks. For me, again, it has to do with if I don't sleep well, if I'm hangry, and I'm trying to work on an athlete's training plan or a blog or a newsletter or a video or some sort of content, and I'm tired and I have that brain fog because I'm tired, number one, I'll just sit down and take a 20-minute nap. Sometimes that takes care of things.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm feeling energy and I know it's not sleep or nutrition, but I'm still just feeling anxious and overwhelmed about something, I go for a run or a bike ride or a swim. And that usually kind of gets me it changes endorphins. It changes my mindset, and it gets me to refocus on the task at hand. So it helps me.
Yeah. And
with any type of mental setback.
Yeah. And that's actually great advice for any setback that I can think of, is to distract yourself or change your state, that mental state that you're in. I know when I was going through recovery for eating stuff, that was a huge thing we did, was distract. And change, like you got to get out of where you are in this moment physically to get out of it mentally. So it's kind of like what we talked about with the anxiety. It reminds me of that. If you're in an anxious state, you have to distract yourself out of that, or you're just going to stay in the anxious state. So one of the things that my therapist said, like she has her anxiety people like suck on sour candy, because that distracts you from what else is going on. With my swimming anxiety attacks I've had, sing a song, just sing that song. And the more you have these setbacks, especially in a particular area, the more you can find a solution that works for you and then use that every time. So you have that tool in your tool belt. So when it happens again, you already know how to deal with it, and be like, it's going to happen again. Like all these things, if you're prone to beating yourself up for missing a workout, if you're prone to, another one I thought of is buyer's remorse, like spending a lot of money. So one of the things, I have a lot of emotional issues with money. And one of the things I used to do is I would get out a credit card because I needed something that I had to buy, like food or like pay my rent. And I was like, oh, since I'm already have a credit card, I'm already spending this money, I might as well buy these 10 things that I've needed or wanted, and then sign up for these 4 races. And then 2 days later, my credit card is maxed out again. And then I'm like, oh, you're so, and then I would beat myself up. You're such an idiot. You're so irresponsible. Why can't you, get your shit together? Like I would tell all myself all these horrible things because I had no control over my spending. And so that was back in the day where I didn't know how to handle that. And I would just beat myself up and I would spiral and I would end up, my one credit card would turn into 2 credit cards and turn into 3 credit cards. And then I would get so mad at myself. I'd be like, okay, get out of debt. And then I would work 40 extra hours a week to try to pay off all these credit cards. And then I'd be exhausted and then I would need money. So I'd get out another, it was like this horrible, vicious cycle. And I know I could not be the only one on the planet that this has ever happened to. So in that situation, again, give yourself grace. Wendy and I always talk about kind of like finding the root of the issue. Like, what's really going on here? Why do I need to, spend this money I don't have? Why do I need to buy this stuff? Is this stuff I really need? And then what are some solutions? Get rid of all my credit cards. Don't spend money you don't have. Get some support. All of these categories, there's people out. You're not the only one, just so you know.
Right.
All these categories. So knowing there's other people out there, get some support. I started listening to the Dave Ramsey podcast, just doing little baby steps to try to get kind of a handle on things so that I wouldn't keep this cycle, which just ended in me beating myself up about it. So yeah, financial definitely is something. I know a lot of people that have buyer's remorse. They buy something and they're like, oh, I shouldn't have bought that. That was so much money. I really didn't need that. The good news these days is you can usually return a lot of things.
That's true.
Whereas back in our day, they're like, you're stuck with it.
Right. And I think 2 things you said about just talking to someone, trying to find someone who can relate, who understands what you're going through, and then journaling and gratitude kind of summarizes 3 good things you can do for any type of setback.
You're right. And the other thing that I wanted to just, again, for any of these setbacks or any bad days, is you just take a moment. Just take some space. If that means take a deep breath, if that means just go outside for a second and take in the sunshine, if that means jump in the shower and take a hot shower, take some space. And for me, a good night's sleep, or even any night, just a night, like things feel better in the morning. If I feel like I can't go on, like things are so bad for whatever reason in any area of my life, when I go to sleep and wake up in the morning, things have dissipated and things feel better.
Yeah, we always come back to sleep.
It's all like, I know it always. So that book that I always talk about, Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker.
Uh-huh.
I can't, it was in an interview I probably with Rich Roll when I first heard about him. And he said, the book should be called, instead of Why We Sleep, like, why shouldn't we sleep? Because there's no reason why there's no evidence that not getting enough sleep does anything positive for you.
Right.
So it's like, just sleep on it. Hey, that's probably where that old saying came from.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep on it. Anything else that you can think of that might help people who are just like in it deep right now?
No, I mean, I think if someone is, they should reach out to us and we can talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And people always bag on social media, but one thing I love about social media, and one reason I love it, and I think it's really good to be out there, is you find people to connect with that have had a similar situation, and you can hear about how 10 people dealt with the situation in 10 different ways to give you some ideas how you can deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas back in the day before social media, you had to go find a book, read a whole book to get a couple ideas, or, you had to tell 10 friends. Hopefully they knew someone who knew someone who knew someone who had gone through that.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's really easy to find people to connect to and connect with. And I think the more open we are about our struggles, the more we're going to find our people. And when we find our people, every bad day and every setback is just going to be a blink, a flash in the pan.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you can think of?
No, I think it's time to wrap it up.
Yeah. Yeah, we're skipping listener questions. Wendy and I both have important things to do today. I mean, nothing more important than the podcast. That's why we're still doing it. But what are you most excited about for this upcoming week?
I have no commitments on the weekend. Of course, I have commitments, but I have a kind of a weekend where I'm not traveling, I'm not racing. I'm just having a weekend.
Nice.
No commitments to fill up however I want to fill it up.
Choices. We have our first home meet this weekend, and I feel like we're all ready. There's going to be 250 kids there, and it's going to be 100 degrees.
Awesome.
So it's going to be an adventure regardless.
Sounds awesome.
I know, I'm excited. And then Cora and I get to do our animal rights stuff. We haven't been in like 6 weeks. They haven't had an event. And she's really excited. She's already picked out her outfit because we wear all black. And the other day she's like, Mom, I found my black outfit for Saturday. I was like, sweet. We get to do that this weekend. So you guys, let us know if any of this is helpful. Let us know maybe some of your tips, what you do in certain situations. Because again, Wendy and I love to have lots of ideas to help our clients that we coach and our athletes and our friends, and even maybe to exchange ideas between all of you guys as well. Awesome sauce. All right, we will see you guys next week.
Make it a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Wellness Made Easy with Wendy and Kirsten. If you want to learn more about us or anything we talked about today, check out the links in our show notes. We would love to know what you think of our podcast and what you want more of. So drop us a comment, send us a message, and help us out by leaving us a rating and a review. And don't forget to let us know your wellness win for this week. Thanks for listening. Make it a great day.